Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. You are here for some February 2023 releases. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite videos to film because I always forget what I add throughout last year and this year. I just add stuff as I'm seeing it. So when I actually show what's coming in February, I'm like, there's some really great stuff coming out. And February has a lot. February has so many books. I'm sure I've missed a ton. There's a lot of thrillers coming out. There's a lot of young adult fantasy. There's a lot of young adult contemporary. I don't read a lot of young adult contemporary. There's a few on this list, but there's a lot coming out. So if you are a young adult contemporary fan, I would go look those up because I don't have that many, but there are a ton. But otherwise, this is going to have some horror. I mean, it's going to have everything. Thriller, horror, young adult fantasy. I don't know. I think real, adult fantasy. Real fantasy, adult fantasy, and I think there's maybe a couple romances. So there's just a lot. There's a lot coming out. So we need to get right into it. I have my trusty computer with my stickers from Kimchi Creative. I love them. And let's get into the first one. So this first one is a bit of an odd date. It is February 2nd, when February 7th is really the big date that everything's coming out. So it's maybe an odd date. I'm not sure. It also may be indie published because I don't recognize the publisher. But it is called This Is How You Fall in Love. I love the cover. I love it so much. And it's a twist on fake dating. So it is following our main characters, Zara and Adnan. And they are going to be fake dating because he wants to hide who he is currently dating. And she's not obsessed with him, but she really feels like she has a lot of feelings for him. But then there's a new guy that comes on the scene for her. So it seems like fake dating, but they don't end up together, which is a definite different take on it. And I kind of absolutely love that. So I'm very excited about that one. And the main character apparently is obsessed with 90s rom-coms and romance novels. So I'm really excited about that. And I think this could be really, really fun. So that's it that I have for February 2nd. Because like I said, the date's a bit odd. So I don't know if that's actually what day it's going to come out on. But that's what it says on Goodreads. Starting on February 7th, we have These Infinite Threads. This is the second book in the This Woven Kingdom. No, I have not read the first one. Yes, I own 2 copies of it. One from Illumicrate, one from LitJoy. But no, I have not read it yet, so we're not really going to talk about it other than the cover's really, really pretty. Don't know anything else about it, but I'll get to it eventually, and hopefully I like it as much as her Shatter Me series. The next one coming out on February 7th is Wild Blood by Lauren Blackwood. Our main character was kidnapped and she is working as a travel guide in the Jamaican jungle, and it is teeming with ghostly monsters. So this sounds different. This sounds really different. And it looks like there's going to be some sort of romance with a character called Thorn, who is a new client and a renowned gold miner determined to reach an untouched gold supply deep in the jungle. So I think this sounds really, really cool. It's almost got a hint of Indiana Jones a little bit in it. The jungle is treacherous between hypnotic rivers, soul-devouring women that shed their skin like snakes, and her ex out for revenge. I think it sounds great. I think this is a young adult contemporary / thriller. I'm not exactly sure what you would classify this one as, but I'm excited about this. I love the yellow cover. I'm loving the bold, bright covers. There's not enough of those, so this one's probably going to be I will pick this one up. Next one coming out, another stunning cover. I feel like maybe 2023 is the year of the stunning covers because look at that. Look at that cover. And it is called Such Pretty Flowers by K.L. Sarah, or Kara? I think Sarah. This one I'm a little suspicious of because it is lowly rated already with 141 ratings. So I don't know which. Normally when people, when it comes out, the ratings shift either way. Most of the time they shift down. But I really, really like the idea of this one. So this one says, "Get it out of me. It was the last message Holly received from her brother Dane before he was found cleaved open in his fiance's lavish Savannah townhouse." Yeah, this is gonna be dark. This is gonna be gruesome, and I am here for it. It says something involving another message he sent that night, the one that mentioned a game his fiancée Maura wanted to play. Our main character is going to be dealing with Savannah's high society, investigating her brother's apparent suicide, and following the girlfriend. And it says it's an edgy Southern Gothic thriller. I'm excited about that one. So that's also February 7th. Next one on February 7th is a contemporary romance, I believe, young adult romance. This time it's real, and this actually has pretty high ratings. Still only, like I said, I was only 129 ratings, but 4.29 is pretty high. Get ready to fall in love with this hilarious rom-com about a girl who begins a fake relationship with the famous actor in her class, perfect for fans of Meg Cabot and Jenny Han. I think this sounds so fun. My biggest qualm with this, it is following our main character who is hiding a big secret, and I don't love that. So the key of the thing is that she gets into the school or something like that based on an article she written about how in love with her boyfriend is, or something along that line. She had a boyfriend, and it turns out everything is fake. She wrote a fictionalized version, but a lot of people think it's real, and so that's how she ends up getting the famous boy to pose as her boyfriend. So it's fake dating, but I also hate lying because you know it's gonna come out and it's gonna be so awkward and it's gonna be uncomfortable. So that is like my biggest issue with this, and I don't love that, but I do love fake dating, so I feel like this is definitely gonna be we're gonna give it a shot, and hopefully it's focused more on the fake dating part than the lying part. Next one coming out on February 7th. Everyone's excited about it. And I'm going to read it. I'm not going to buy a copy. There's literally zero chance I'm going to buy a copy. I'll do Libby for it. But it is Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones. Man. Man. This is the second book in the series. The Lake Witch Trilogy. Oh, there's a third one. I don't know why I do this to myself because I really didn't like the first one. And what even was the first one called? My Heart is a Chainsaw. I love the name. And I love the covers. The covers are so good. But I actually, okay. Heart of a Chainsaw. I liked it until the end, and then I was so confused that I read the ending like 6 times, and I'm still confused about what happened, because at first I thought it was like in her imagination and stuff happening, but no, it was not. And anyway, this book picks up on it. I'm not going to say anything about it. If you want to, go check it out on Goodreads or the author's page. But it's basically just following the first one and the events that occurred at the end of that book, which are wild. Wild. You have to read the first book before reading this. This is not like a standalone kind of thing, like every book's no. This is very much bad things happen in the first book, and you need to know because all the ramifications are going to happen in this book. So I'm curious how the writing style is going to change, because the main character obviously is going to change significantly between the first and the second book. So there should be a lot of things different going on, and I am curious where it's going to pick up and how they're going to explain what happened at the end of that first book. And I feel like what happens in this book is really going to decide how I really feel about that first book and if I'm going to continue in the series. So I'm nervous about this one. I know a lot of people are excited, but I just have a pit in my gut about this book. Next one coming out actually wasn't on my radar for a while, but a lot of people have been talking about lately, and it's called The Spite House by Johnny Compton, and it comes out on February 7th. It's by Tor Nightfire, and I'm a little iffy on this one because it's following family drama, which is not normally my like big fan of, especially in horror, but it also has to do with haunted houses. So I don't know. It says Eric Ross is on the run from a mysterious past with his 2 daughters in tow. Having left his wife, his house, his whole life behind in Maryland, he's desperate for money. It's not easy to find safe work when you can't provide references, you can't stay in one place for long, and you're paranoid that your past is creeping back up on you. So I don't know, like, it's already very ominous. When he comes across the strange ad for Mason House in Degener, Texas, a lot of things I can't say, Eric thinks they may have finally caught a lucky break. The Masson property, notorious for being one of the most haunted places in Texas, needs a caretaker. So they basically are going here, and it's a house of horror that drives them mad like all the caretakers before them. So I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think it sounds cool. Who was it? Someone that I watched already read it and said it was kind of slow, like it was iffy. So I feel like this is going to be a very dividing book about how people are going to feel about it, which I feel like, again, is how most horror is. And our last book coming out on February 7th, because we've got tons more. There's tons of books coming out this month. And this is called The Seven Faceless Saints, and it is going to be the first in a series, and it's by M.K. Lobb. 182 ratings, 4.13, so that's pretty impressive. Discover what's lurking in the shadows in this dark fantasy debut with a murder mystery twist, perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Kerry Maniscalco. I don't know if this is young adult or adult either, because Leigh Bardugo and Kerry Maniscalco have both written young adult and adult fantasy, so now I'm like, which one is it? I don't know which one it is. But anyway, I love this cover. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record, but these covers are so good. They're so good. And this one is no different. It's just amazing. So, dark fantasy, my only issue is it possibly a debut. Sometimes debuts are like so good, and then sometimes you're like, and the writing just needs work, and you wish they had waited. Like, it's such a good idea that you wish that it had been like their third book out, because then it would have been like amazing. But I'm still really excited, and like debuts can still be amazing. I've read plenty of really good debuts. So the story takes place in a city of Ambrasia. Saints and their disciples rule with terrifying and unjust power, playing favorites while the unfavored struggle to survive. Our main character's father was murdered at the hands of the military, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to dismantle corrupt system. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of political intrigue in a world we don't really understand, and saints and sinners, etc., and murder mystery twist. So it sounds pretty good. And then we have the other main character. As the youngest captain in the history of Palazzo Security, Damien Venturi is expected to be ruthless and strong. So this has definitely got some sort of like Italian, maybe Vatican City feels to it, which is going to be really interesting. Maybe talking about corruption in religious power, which is going to be interesting. Okay, the first one that we're going to be talking about coming out on February 14th is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And this one has been everywhere. This one's everywhere because a lot of book boxes are doing it, and it's just very... it's the vibes. The vibes seem really good. It is an adult fantasy, I believe a standalone. It is a sumptuous gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. So this one sounds really depressing. Once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. He was a scholar of myths. She was heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. And in exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. I feel like it's got some, like, Rebecca vibes, but, like, reversed. Because, like, he's like, the heir to, like, a bunch of money, and he's got secrets, and interesting. It's got that gothic feel to it. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic, loved it, with the dreamy enchantment of the invisible life of Addie LaRue, loved it. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding and darkly romantic page-turner about love and lies, secrets and betrayals, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. So, I mean, that sounds pretty good. I actually already have my copy from one of the book boxes. I think I'm getting 2 copies, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, they're both going to be totally different, so I'm okay with that. The next one coming out on February 14th, I think, is our first thriller, finally, that we're going to be talking about, and it's Bright and Deadly Things by Lexi Elliott. A remote, back-to-basics mountaintop retreat in the French Alps turns deadly as an Oxford fellow finds herself in the crosshairs of her late husband's dangerous secrets. So it looks like it's got some one-by-one vibes where our main character is going up to a chalet and there's no electricity, running water, or access to a car. Rustic chalet in the Alps. She will have a bunch of friends from university who will be joining her. Something feels off though. So did like her late husband's dangerous secret. So he's already dead, supposedly. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and he's the bad guy, because the husband's always the bad guy. Her friends and colleagues are behaving oddly, and competition for a newly opened position has introduced a streak of meanness into the otherwise relaxing getaway. People going through her things, and then a student disappears. So there's a lot that's going on in this one. I think this could be really good. This seems like one potentially Book of the Month might pick. It seems definitely like their type of book that they would pick. But that is Bright and Deadly Things. I'm excited for that one. We'll see if I end up getting to it, because I do have a lot of thrillers I need to go through. The next one coming out on February 14th is called Revel. I think that's how it's said. By Lissa Mia Smith. And it is inspired by Moulin Rouge, which makes me very nervous. Because if you know anything about Moulin Rouge, it does not end happy. So I'm like, but I believe that this is a young adult contemporary fantasy inspired by Moulin Rouge and set on an island in a magical, so fantasy, of Prohibition-era New York. Revel is a breathtaking young adult standalone fantasy full of dazzling magic, romance, and mystery from debut author Lissa Mia Smith. Our main character is a star of her family's fantastical show and knows the splendor is just an illusion. With prohibition threatening their livelihood, her family struggles to make a living. So when the son of Charmant's wealthiest family makes an offer, everything the rebels need to stay in business in exchange for posing as his girl and helping him become mayor, she can't refuse. So fake dating to someone she doesn't want to be with. Yeah, it's very Moulin Rouge-esque, because then they talk about the moment Jameson Port sets foot in Charmant, he can't shake the feeling of familiarity. An orphan, and obviously sparks fly when they meet. Dangerous game, one that could destroy them both. I really hope it doesn't end the way that Moulin Rouge ends. I feel like that's not on par for young adult contemporary fantasy-esque. I feel like that's very rare for what happened at the end of Moulin Rouge to happen in those kind of books, because it's too sad. So I hope that's not the case, but it sounds really good otherwise, because Moulin Rouge is one of my favorite movies. That ending is so sad. So I hope that is not the case, but I think this might be coming in one of my book boxes, so I'm getting it anyway, even if I rage against it. I think I'm getting it. Okay, last one coming out on February 14th is a young adult horror slasher, it seems, and it's called The Pledge by Cale Dietrich. And on the cover it says, "This frat is deadly." Scream, which is my absolute favorite, meets clown in a cornfield in this young adult horror novel by best-selling author Cale Dietrich, featuring a masked killer who targets frat boys. Freshman Sam believes that joining a fraternity is the best way to form a friend group as he begins his college journey and his best chance of moving on from his past. He is the survivor of a horrific and world-famous murder spree where a masked killer hunted down Sam and his friends. Oh, this is nice. He starts to flirt with one of the brothers, who Sam finds is surprisingly accepting, and begins to think a fresh start is truly possible. That's an interesting take. Okay. Then one of the new frat brothers is found dead, a new masked murderer, one clearly inspired by the original. And our main character is going to race against the clock to find out who it is. And that sounds really good. Elements of horror, mystery, and a gay romance makes this a story readers won't want to miss. Okay. This could be good. But sometimes when you mix romance into young adult horror, it doesn't work very well. So we're gonna see. I am excited about that, and I'm glad it's not just like a generic slasher killing frat boy thing. There's gonna be more depth to it, seems, possibly. So that's really exciting, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to this one. I know a lot of people have started talking about this one, so I think this is gonna be a bigger release than anticipated. So next is one that is coming out on February 20th. A lot of people are very excited about this. It's only one book because it's a weird date. So on February 20th, The Housemaid's Secret is coming out, the second book in the Housemaid series by Freida McFadden. I read the first book last year. I read all the thrillers for Goodreads, and I was so surprised at how much I loved it. It's like a popcorn thriller, and it was so much fun. So if you want a really fun thriller, I would definitely read the first one. And I think this one technically is in the series, but it's not actually with any of the characters from the first one, which is kind of sad. I kind of wanted it to, the main character to be in this one, because it kind of leaves off on a way that it could. She opened the door to it, but seems like it's going to be somebody else. Don't go in the guest bedroom. A shadow falls on Douglas Garrick's face as he touches the door with his fingertips. My wife, she's very ill. As he continues showing me their incredible penthouse apartment, I have a terrible feeling about the woman behind closed doors, but I can't risk losing this job, not if I want to keep my darkest secrets safe. So it sounds like it's going to be another popcorn thriller. I am so excited to read this. I think it's going to be so good. And yeah, this is definitely one that I'm incredibly excited about. Okay, February 21st, we have a couple on here, and it looks like two thrillers. They're both thrillers that possibly could be book of the month, which I'm really excited about. But the first one is I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai. And this one definitely is one that I'm really, really excited about. named Most Anticipated Book by Time, NPR, The Seattle Times, Good Housekeeping, Today, Southern Living, and Crime Reads. So a lot of people are talking about this one. A successful film professor and podcaster, Bodie Kane is content to forget her past, the family tragedy that marred her adolescence, her 4 largely miserable years at New Hampshire boarding school, and the murder of her former roommate, Thalia Keith, in the spring of their senior year. Though the circumstances surrounding Thalia's death and the conviction of the school's athletic trainer, Omar Evans, are hotly debated online, Bodie prefers to let sleeping dogs lie. So it's going to have some podcast stuff in there, film stuff in there, an unsolved or a solved murder that's probably not really solved correctly, which is a very big theme lately because of the whole podcast industry has very much changed and warped its way into thrillers to kind of adjust how they look at crime books. And it looks like our main character is going to go back to the school where it happened, and she wants to look through what actually happened. So perhaps back in 1995, she knew something that might have held the key to solving the case. So yeah, this sounds really good. I hope this is a book of the month. If it's not, I'm going to pick it up anyway. This one just seems like a thriller I am dying to read. The next one coming out on February 21st is another one that everyone is talking about, and it is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. The plot meets Please Join Us in the psychological suspense debut about a young author at an exclusive writer's retreat that descends into a nightmare. So this one definitely screams haunted vibes by Chuck Palahniuk, whatever, the guy who wrote Fight Club. If you haven't read it, don't. The book is disgusting. I only made it through about half of that book, but it's about these writers who go basically on a writer's retreat and stuff in their books starts happening, or stuff starts happening to them. That's awful, awful. But I kind of got that same vibes from this, obviously, hopefully toned down, because that book was so gross. Alex has given up on her dreams, but she's going to attend an exclusive month-long writing retreat at the estate of feminist horror writer Raza Vallow. Even the knowledge that Ren, her former best friend and current rival, is attending doesn't dampen her excitement. They must all complete an entire novel from scratch during the next month, and the author of the best one will receive a life-changing 7-figure publishing deal. Determined to win this impossible contest, Alex buckles down and tries to ignore the strange happenings at the estate, including Rosa's erratic behavior, Ren's cruel mind games, and the alleged haunting of the mansion itself. But one of the writers vanishes during the snowstorm. Alex realizes that something very sinister is afoot. So definitely claustrophobic, propulsive thriller. So obviously they're either being off, there's maybe some ghosty things going on. I feel like maybe we're going to have some Simone St. James vibes in here, which would be really cool. Because Simone St. James is known for like mixing a little bit of haunted stuff within her books. I think that'd be really fun. But everyone's talking about this one. This is another one that just seems like it's going to be fantastic, and it also is a really, really cool cover. So another one I'm very excited about. This one I just found literally like this morning while I was going over stuff very quickly to make sure I didn't miss any, and this is called Arch Conspirator by Veronica Roth. And normally I would not put a Veronica Roth on here because of the Divergent series. I was so traumatized by it. However, last year, one of my favorite books of the year, the most memorable books I read, was Poster Girl by Veronica Roth, which was originally a 4.25, but I changed to a 5 because it lives in my head. It lives there, and I am obsessed with it. So I'm like, okay, let's give this next one a shot, even though it's not dystopian, which makes me a little nervous, or it's like a version of dystopian. It's different. It is different, but the cover looks so good. And it looks like it's going to be another standalone adult fantasy book-esque. It's going to be a reimagining of Antigone, which I don't really know anything about, so I hope that doesn't kind of hurt what I think about it. Maybe it's better if I don't know anything, because then I don't know what's going to happen. But reaches back to the root of legend and delivers a world of tomorrow, both timeless and unexpected. So it is kind of dystopian. Outside the last city on Earth, the planet is a wasteland. Without the archive, where the genes of the dead are stored, humanity will end. Passing into the archive should be cause for celebration, but Antigone's parents were murdered, leaving her father's throne vacant. As her militant uncle Creon rises to claim it, all Antigone feels is rage. When he welcomes her and her siblings into his mansion, Antigone sees it for what it really is, a gilded cage where she is captive as well as a guest. But her uncle will soon learn that no cage is unbreakable, and neither is he. So this one could go either way. I don't love the synopsis as much as I feel like I could, but I'm going to give it a shot because of how much I loved Poster Girls. So that's kind of my hope with that one. And I really, really do love the cover. And our last one coming out on February 21st is Where Darkness Blooms by Andrea Hanna. And this is one that's been getting some traction because it's going to be a young adult horror. And it's a supernatural thriller about an eerie town where the sunflowers whisper secrets and the land hungers for blood. I love these types of books that are nature horror. It's funny because I'm not a nature person. Maybe that's why I like it, because I'm never in nature, so I'm not, like super afraid of it. So for me, I just really, I don't know why. I don't know. I love nature horror, which is why I love Aaron A. Craig's books, Small Favors, House of Salt and Sorrow. I love that vibe, and this is definitely giving me horror nature vibes. The cover freaks me out. It's definitely striking, but it's freaking me out. The town of Bishop is known for exactly two things: recurring windstorms and an endless field of sunflowers that stretches farther than the eye can see, and missing women. So when 3 more women disappear one stormy night, no one in Bishop is surprised. The case is closed and their daughters are left in their dusty shared house with the shattered pieces of their lives, until the wind kicks up a terrible secret at their mother's much-delayed memorial. With secrets come the lies each of the girls is forced to confront. So there's just a lot of, it's almost bordering on contemporary. So this is definitely one that I'm like, this might be too weird. It might be a little too weird for me, but I think it's worth a shot. Okay, and we are moving along to the last books, which is February 28th, and there's a couple of really big ones. So obviously the first really big one is Last Violent Call, which is Foul Lady Fortune 1.5. So I thought this was very interesting. I don't know anything about it. All it says is, from #1 New York Times bestselling author Chloe Gong comes 2 captivating new novellas surrounding the events of Foul Lady Fortune. So that's just little novellas in that book. Beautiful cover as usual. The next one coming out is definitely going to be a unknown for me. It is a duology, which is exciting, but I read the first one, and this one is called Immortality, a Love Story. And the first one was Anatomy, a Love Story, and I don't know how I feel about it. But that one, this one's following that one, so I'm not going to say anything about this one. But the first one was following our main character, who is a woman in like Victorian era, I think, and she is, stalking Jack the Ripper. It's basically stalking Jack the Ripper. As a character, she wants to be a surgeon, she wants to be involved in that kind of stuff, and she gets embroiled in, I think it's a Jack the Ripper case kind of thing going on. I don't remember exactly if it was, but this one is following that one, and there's a lot of stuff that happened at the end. I loved that whole book until the end, so I'm curious how this one's going to pick up on that one. The next one coming out on February 28th is one that everybody knows about and everybody is waiting for, but it is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, and it is the standalone prequel to A Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm not going to say anything else because I have not read Priory of the Orange Tree, so I don't want to know what it's about, but of course, as usual, the covers are stunning, and that's the only reason I picked up Priory of the Orange Tree, because I don't know when or if ever I'm going to read it. I don't know. It terrifies me. So next one coming out on February 28th is finally a romance. I've looked through so many romances in February and I just haven't found any of them compelling. So I was excited to see this one, and it's called The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. In this heart-fluttering romance by Christina Forrest, a shy bookworm enlists her charming neighbor to help her score a date, not knowing he's the obscure author she's been corresponding with. It's got like a You've Got Mail vibe to it, which is one of my favorite rom-com movies ever. And it just, it looks so cute, and I love the cover, and I love that idea of a bookworm, and they're trying to get her a date, but he's like probably really falling in love with her, and I'm just... I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I hope this one is a book of the month. I would love that. I think this is a good one and seems very on market or on brand for book of the month. The next one coming out on February 28th is Nightbirds by Kate J. Armstrong, and it's going to be the first in a series, which always makes me nervous because I don't want to start a million series. In a dazzling new fantasy world full of whispered secrets and political intrigue, the magic of women is outlawed, but 4 girls with unusual powers have the ability to change it all. The Nightbirds are Simta's best-kept secret, teenage girls from the great houses with magic coursing through their veins. The Nightbirds have the unique ability to gift their magic to others with a kiss. Magic, especially the magic of women, is outlawed in the city's religious sects. would see them burned if discovered, but protected by the great houses, the Nightbirds are safe, well-guarded treasures. So this sounds really good. Love the cover. It's so pretty. And this could be a really, really fun book. It seems a little different than other young adult fantasies I have read, so I'm excited about this one. Okay, next one is one that has gained a ton of traction. I've seen everybody talking about it. I follow a lot of horror thriller YouTubers, and this one is pretty much on everyone's list to read. And it's She is a Haunting by Trang Thanh Tran. A house with a terrifying appetite haunts a broken family in this atmospheric horror perfect for fans of Mexican Gothic. I love Mexican Gothic. I love Mexican Gothic so much that anytime anything is a blurb of Mexican Gothic, I know it's like a ruse to get people to read it, but I'm a sucker. Anytime it says Mexican Gothic, I'm like, I'm here for it. When Jade Nugent arrives in Vietnam for a visit with her estranged father, she has one goal: survive 5 weeks pretending to be a happy family in the French colonial house Ba is restoring. She's always lied to fit in, so if she's straight enough, Vietnamese enough, American enough, she can get out with the college money he promised. But the house has other plans, so this is definitely a... Oh, there's bugs. Night after night, Jade wakes up paralyzed. The walls exude a thrumming sound while bugs leave their legs and feelers in places they don't belong. Oh, okay, I don't like bugs. I didn't know there was bugs in this. I'm excited to read it, but I'm also now frightened because I really hate stuff with bugs. Okay, we are on to the last two coming out on February 28th, and this one is called Delicious Monsters by Liesl Samberry? No idea. The Haunting of Hill House meets Sadie in this evocative and mind-bending psychological thriller following two teen girls navigating the treacherous past of a mysterious mansion 10 years apart. Again, another haunted house book. I feel like this year is the year of the haunted houses. Everybody's doing a haunted house. Grady Hendrix had us all a haunted house. This one, the one I just read, tons of haunted house books. So we are following two separate timelines. One of our main characters is living in the house 10 years prior to the current timeline who's listening to it now, or is living in it now. As Brittany investigates the mansion in the present, Daisy's story runs parallel in the past, both timelines propelling the girls to face the most dangerous monsters of all, those that hide in plain sight. So this definitely sounds like family drama with horror, so this could be a very emotional, tolling read, but oh, it looks so good, and the cover is just like so good and horrifying at the same time. Okay, our last book, and one that everybody knows about, is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, and this one is coming out on February 28th. This is coming in, I think, a book box, and it's by Shannon Chakraborty. The best-selling author of The City of Brass spins a new trilogy of magic and mayhem on the high seas in this tale of pirates and sorcerers, forbidden artifacts, and ancient mysteries, in one woman's determined quest to seize a final chance at glory and write her own legend. I hope this is really piratey. I really, really want this to actually be very magical and piratey, because I feel like a lot of books that say they're piratey aren't actually piratey. So I want this to be filled with pirates, filled with magic, filled with... It better have the Kraken in it, because the cover has the Kraken on it, and it better have the Kraken and fighting monsters at sea. And I have so many high expectations for this book that, yeah, I'm a little nervous because of how much I want this to be good. And I'm also sad because I want this cover. This is the US cover. I want this one. But I believe the one I'm going to be getting is the UK version, which I don't really like very much. Although they could redo it. Whatever the book box is, I don't remember which book box is doing it. They could redo it totally. But anyway, those are all the books that I am excited for February. There are tons more books out there, so make sure you comment down below. Let me know if I missed any. Let me know if any on here are what you're excited about. What is your most anticipated book of February? I'm so excited to hear what everybody wants to read, because I kind of like adjust based on what everybody wants to read. Like if one book everyone's like, oh my gosh, I really want to read this, that'll probably go to the top of my list, because FOMO, man. I have no FOMO otherwise. Like, you could not, when I was in college, you could not drag me to a party. You could not make me do anything by saying any, like, other people want to do it. But the second it comes to books, I'm like, I have to read it if everyone else is reading it. So let me know down below what you're excited about, what you're not excited about. Like the video, because I'm going to be coming out with more of these. Every month we're going to be coming out with more of these. And make sure you subscribe because like I said, every month we're going to be coming out with the new releases of that month. So this one's coming out a little early because there are so many books and I want people to be able to plan accordingly what they want to get and when they want to get it. So that is all I've got for you today. Make sure you do all the things I talked about and I will see you in the next video.